Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. I think the problem in Scotland isn't so much the SNP particularly as the Nats generally, because it's not only the SNP that are making stupid decisions. Now looks like Alex Salmond and the Alba party are also upping their game and making sure that they also have really bad candidates. This one is another one that's unbelievable. I've just done a video about Patrick Grady and the SNP. And now we're talking about John Marshall and Alba because John Marshall is a convicted criminal. And yet he's just been selected to stand for Alex Salmond's party. Unbelievable, isn't it? What is wrong? Is the calibre of the Nats so low that they rely upon perverts and criminals? Who knows? Let's look at this story. Alba candidate is a convicted criminal who threatened political opponents. And despite John Marshall's conviction, Alex Salmond unveiled him as the by-election hopeful in Bells Hill for a place on the North Lanarkshire Council. North Lanarkshire, a place that is riven with political problems at the moment. Obviously, that's the Jordan Lindan area. Who is currently, well, he resigned from the party, but then the SNP backed him over the people who raised the issue of him being a pervert, basically a sex pest who likes, again, like Patrick Grady. We have another one who likes to inappropriately touch teenage boys. The SNP is riven with people who like to touch teenage boys. There seems to be an awful lot of them in there. A candidate for Alex Salmond's Alba party is a convicted criminal who was fined for threatening political opponents. John Marshall, who was introduced in a video by the former First Minister, is trying to succeed the alleged sex pest Jordan Lindan on North Lanarkshire Council. Labour MSP Martin Whitfield said, "A person who has been fined for harassing political opponents is not a fit and proper person to hold office. Alba and Alex Salmond are a busted flush." Pro-independence Alba are under pressure over the decision to select Marshall due to his checkered past. In 2015, he was fined £400 at Hamilton Sheriff Court after admitting shouting, swearing and uttering a threat to rival campaigners ahead of the independence referendum. So you have this man who is a convicted criminal, and yet he is seen as a fit and proper person by Alex Salmond to replace a sex pest, to replace someone who likes to touch inappropriate boys. I feel sorry for the people in North Lanarkshire. You lose a pervert, but you gain a criminal. You really don't have much hope when this is the calibre of people who want to make the decisions for your life. I would suggest that they vote elsewhere, maybe independent or something, just send a message. But really, is this the best that they can manage? Poor North Lanarkshire. He pled guilty to the charge of breaching a section of the Criminal Justice and Licensing Scotland Act 2010. The court heard that Marshall, known as MASH, had 3 previous convictions for breach of the peace. Jimmy Coyle, then a Labour councillor in North Lanarkshire, said at the time of the £400 fine, this man, Marshall, went over the top with threatening behaviour towards people simply because they had a different view from him. That is not democracy in any form. The man is a thug. The man is a rough-edged thug. He is not fit for office and he should have been abandoned. But Alex Salmond is so desperate to get someone that he'll take anyone. There is no bar low enough that people won't step over it. He cannot get anyone decent. No one decent on the nationalist side. You look at the Nats left, right and centre. They are all awful. What is wrong with them? Is Scottish politics so bad that they rely on perverts and criminals to get anything done? Unbelievable, isn't it? Despite Marshall's conviction, Salmond unveiled him as the by-election hopeful in Bells Hill for a place on North Lanarkshire Council. Well, there you go. It's a bell end for Bell Hill. He said, "I'm here with John Marshall, the newly selected Alba candidate." In an on-camera discussion with Salmond, Marshall added the SNP held the roost in Lanarkshire before, but it seems to me that boat has sailed. The Alba website urges backers to make financial donations to support the fantastic Marshall. He's not that fantastic, is he? I mean, we can see quite clearly. And they must be absolutely desperate for money. It's what they all do it for. I'm pretty sure that Salmond has only sort of set this party up because he's incapable of going to get a real job and he needs an income. So if he can set up a party and convince people to put money in, then he can draw a salary from it, keep his nose in the public eye, and stop him having to sort of go and get a real job. Liberal Dem MP Christine Jardine said, "This is not the first Alba candidate with a history of such unseemly outbursts. In his continued desperation to remain relevant, the public will judge Alex Salmond by the company he keeps." And he keeps pretty rough company, as we can see. The Bells Hill by-election will be held on June the 15th, following Lindan's resignation from the council. He quit as SNP council leader and then from the local authority over sexual harassment allegations. Well, they're obviously real if he's quit, otherwise he'd have stayed and fought them. But again, it's the thing harking back Humza Yousaf and the SNP punishing those whistleblowers, those who stood up for the victim, and castigating the victim, but yet strangely supportive of Jordan Lindan. And Humza Yousaf has been dragged into this. And we know what side he is. He's very much supporting the perpetrator, not supporting the victim. An Alba spokesman said John has learned his lesson and knows how to conduct himself. Well, he didn't do it the first 3 times before he did it a 4th time. So why do you think the 4th time is the best one and it'll work this time? Yeah, really. Never mind. He said he will conduct himself properly in an election, as evidenced by him standing previously in the 2022 local government elections and not winning. We are all behind him 100%. John Marshall will be walking tall in this campaign. Yes, walking tall and threatening people who dare mention the past. But he's had 3 previous convictions, plus this one. And so there is a history there. You can see quite clearly he is not a good, fit and proper person to be holding a public office. But what have you got? People of Bells Hill, the people of Lanarkshire, North Lanarkshire generally, but the people of Bells Hill, you must be sitting there and thinking, what the hell have we done to deserve this level of candidate? Well, I tell you what, you've got the answer in your hand. Don't vote SNP, don't vote Alba, and if you can't vote Tory, Labour, Lib Dem or anything, don't waste your vote. Vote an independent and send a message. Anyway, thank you very much. I shall come up and we'll round off here. You don't expect much, do you? You don't expect a great deal from the likes of the SNP or Alba. But you do expect, perhaps, that they would foist upon the electorate people who are not likely to touch them inappropriately or beat them up. It's not a big ask, is it? But there we are. That's the Nats on either side of that divide. Now, I do criticise them all. But, let's see as many people as we can move away from the SNP and move towards Salmond, because I'd like to split that vote. And anyone who sits in the SNP and doesn't like the fact that they're very chummy with perverts could quite happily move across now to people who are chummy with thugs. So, you pays your money, you takes your choice. Who do you want making your life miserable? Is it a pervert or is it a criminal? Simple choice. Unbelievably low talent, isn't it? It's beyond a joke. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. But mostly, leave a like. They're the big ones. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Just watch out when you're voting that there's nobody about to thump you. And goodbye.